So she jumps out her bed, goes to the window. She looks, she don't see anybody, so she gets back in the bed.
It's mind-blowing how much our phones can do.
So were y'all arguing?
We got our guy, right? So now we got to figure out, why were you in Idaho? Were you stalking them? Creepy. What's up, Team Jazzy? It's your girl, Jazzy J, and I am back with another mukbang. So today's true crime is unfortunately about the Moscow, Idaho murders. This is the full story. 4 students who attended Idaho University were brutally murdered in their sleep. And today we will be unraveling how this happened and all the events, the whole timeline from beginning to end. So I call all of my subscribers Team Jazzy. So if you would like to be a part of the team, all you have to do is subscribe to this channel and turn your post notifications on so that you never miss another video. Give this video a big thumbs up on the simple fact that I have some Mochi ice cream on top of waffles. I don't know why, I just thought that would be so good. And I'm starving. I love Mochi ice cream, especially the vanilla kind. And I don't want it to melt. So we're gonna see what it tastes like. I'm gonna pray and we're gonna get started. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for the food that I'm about to receive. I ask that it may be nourishment to my body. I ask that you bless the hands of the predator and bless my entire Team Jazzy. Amen. I have all different flavors of Mochi ice cream. So I have the matcha green tea. I kept the wrappers. I have passion fruit, strawberry, vanilla. I have blood orange, pistachio, and mango. Yummy. So we're gonna see what it's like. I have to taste it with the waffle. Oh my goodness, this is so good. I have my syrup. I have raw agave, but I don't even need it. This is a wonderful cheat meal. It really feels like a dessert. The vanilla is my favorite. I'll taste something else. I think this one is the, this one is the pistachio one. So I'm literally just forking the waffle and then the mochi. I need to taste the pistachio by itself. So good. I guess I'll share. It's really good. Y'all have to try this. Please let me know. This is a dairy-free waffle. I made a short to it. And then this is dairy-free mochi ice cream. They don't have dairy-free mochi ice cream everywhere. So before you go to the store, look it up. But I encourage all of you guys to just try a vegan meal. Try a dairy-free meal every now and then if you're not vegan just yet. And you'll see how different your body feels once you go even 3 days without meat or cheese. Oh, that's the mango one. It's so good. Y'all, mochi ice cream with warm waffles. This is so yummy.
So good. I just want to show y'all what the back is looking like up close. So if y'all have been watching the news, back in November 2022, 911 operators dispatched the police at 11:58 in the morning. Remember these times. 11:58 in the morning about a unconscious person. But when the police got there, to their surprise, it was more than just an unconscious person. It was a quadruple murder. Very bloody murder scene. 4 students who were roommates and was renting out this house in Moscow, Idaho, were brutally murdered in their sleep. 2 victims in one room and then 2 victims in the other room. The 2 victims were Maddie and Kaylee. And then the 2 victims in the other room were Ethan and Xana. Now, Ethan did not live there, but he was spending the night with his girlfriend and unfortunately lost his life as well. There were 2 surviving roommates who were there and luckily was not stabbed. They were the ones who actually called the police at 11:58 in the morning. So there was a knife sheath on the bed in Kaylee and Madison's room, and the button on the sheath had male DNA on it. So we know it's a male who did it, and the entire college went on a lockdown because the murder could still be out there. They didn't know if it was going to be like a mass shooting. Like, you don't know what is about to take place. So they temporarily put everything on lockdown. And just imagine the parents. Like, imagine one of your babies in college calling you like, 4 of my friends were stabbed in their sleep and we don't know who did it. You would be in the car headed to go get your baby.
Say about some SWAT team thing or there was this shooting where? Interesting.
The world is a darker place without them, but the light of their love and memories will always guide us all. Maddie has truly been a blessing in our lives. Watching her grow and mature into the amazing woman she become is truly priceless in our hearts.
Xana, you will not be forgotten. You have impacted so many lives and have given people so much love. I hope I can make you proud and try to leave an impact on this world and on people like you did.
If you knew Ethan, he was never angry about anything. He would never get upset. You couldn't upset him ever.
We're just heartbroken. We know it. It's just going to take time for everybody to heal. If that's possible. I just pray that it is.
Maddie was my best friend. She was the first person I talked to every morning and the last person I talked to before bed. But I was lucky enough to be able to explore life with Maddie for about 2 years.
My name is Stacy Chapin. I thought I could do this. Today we're here to honor the life and legacy of our son and brother, Ethan Chapin, one of the most incredible people you'll ever know.
It's the wonder of the relationship of a father and his daughter. I said, all right, that is pretty wonderful. You start wondering the minute they put that baby in your hand, you wonder what you're going to do. And you wonder how you're going to feed them and how you're going to take care of them. And then you wonder why your wife's yelling at you because you're feeding your baby a hamburger. You know, it's like, and then you wonder, how am I going to understand and make this the best opportunity for both of us? And you start seeing the world through the girl's eyes. And as a father, it's a little bit scary. You start seeing like the world starts having like this purple haze, and there's puppies, and there's kitties, and there's all these weird movies you have to watch, and they start crying all the time. But you start falling in love with this world that they built. You see this world and it changes, and you don't have pickup trucks and all these footballs. You start seeing the beauty of what they have and what makes them special.
The next best thing for the police to do after they ran DNA on the sheep button was to do a video canvas. And that is just basically reviewing all security cameras, all the Ring camera footages that's in the neighborhood. And they noticed a strange pattern in this white Elantra that had drove by 4 times. So they knew whoever occupies this white Elantra has to know something or seen something. We need to speak with them. Then Washington State University, which is very close to Idaho University, it's about a 20-minute drive. They also picked up a white Elantra. And so now the police is like, okay, we know that the killer must be between the 2 schools because they're in completely different cities and states, but they're very close to each other. And although a lot of people drive white Elantras, we're at least one step closer to finding the murderer. So after going through Kaylee and Madison's phone, they called Kaylee's ex-boyfriend a total of 10 times right before they were killed. And the layout of the house is pretty strange. So for anybody to be in there and to be able to maneuver without breaking glass, without bumping into something in the nighttime, and you're moving fast, trying not to get caught or whatever the case may be, you would have to know the layout of the house. So now the police is like, okay, so it must be somebody that they were close to, like a personal attack, or it's a house party. They're in college. So a lot of parties were thrown there, which, by the way, made investigation more of a challenge because there was so many DNA profiles in there. But it had to have been somebody that's very close to them because they knew the layout of this strange house. The bedrooms are all not on the same level. So looking at the relationships of all the victims in the house, they all seem pretty close. So Kaylee and Madison were best friends, and Ethan and Xana were in a relationship, but they all seem pretty close because Madison and Xana worked together at a Greek restaurant, and they also all knew Jack, who was Kaylee's ex-boyfriend. So as the police is going through all of these DNA profiles and questioning everybody, victims' families were getting very impatient.
And so what the family is talking about is there's been a number of people involved who police have said have been cleared at this point. The family is saying they want to know what the specific alibis are. They want to know the evidence and proof of why police cleared those people.
One of the 4 students killed in this home near the University of Idaho campus, questioning how police have managed the investigation.
If they are in over their heads, then acknowledge that and turn the investigation over to someone who's more versed in handling these types of matters.
And saying that while the family supports law enforcement, the Moscow police have done a poor job of communicating with the grieving Goncalves family.
You know, the community, I believe, will be the ones that solve this case.
So this left the public to do their own investigation. And the first person in the hot seat was Jack. Because y'all were together, you knew the layout of the house, she had just broke up with you, and you were the last person that she talked to right before she lost her life. So were y'all arguing and then Madison just jumped in it as the best friend? Because she called you too. And in between Madison and Kaylee both together, they called him 10 times. Or should we put the spotlight on the surviving roommate who was actually up and saw everything? She even laid eyes on the murderer. But then she didn't call the police until 8 hours later. She told the police that at 4 a.m., she woke up to thumping. And she just figured maybe she's playing with the dog. But then she heard Xana say, someone's here. So she jumps out her bed, goes to the window. She looks, she don't see anybody, so she gets back in the bed. Then she hears crying from Kaylee's room. So she jumps up, she opens her door. She don't hear anything. She closes the door. Then she hear a man's voice say, it's okay, I'm going to help you. So she opens up her door again, and there he is. A man in all black walking towards her. And in a panic, she didn't know what to do. She just froze. It caused her not to be able to move. She couldn't move. And he's walking towards her. And then he just walks right past her. Like he sees through her like he never even saw her. And luckily, he walked right out the door and never touched her. And she was so scared, she frantically ran in her room, locked the door, jumped into bed, and went to sleep. And it wasn't until the next day she realized they weren't waking up. She called her friends. They came over, and then they called the police together. There was also investigation on a random man with the hood on in the middle of the night following Kaylee and Madison at a food truck hours before they were murdered.
Surveillance video newly obtained by News Nation shows what appears to be Kaylee Goncalves and her best friend Maddy Mogen walking in downtown Moscow, Idaho just hours before they were murdered. You can hear their voices in the video.
Before they were brutally murdered. Kaylee Goncalves in the white hoodie and her friend Madison Mogen were at a popular food truck near the campus.
I would like the
Look, one man appears to be watching them. The time, 1:30 a.m. After ordering, Maddy sees a friend and embraces him. When their food comes, Kaylee takes a short video to post on social media, and they walk off together. Look, the man gestures towards them and then heads in the same direction. It's believed police know who he is.
It's as if they didn't even see him. And I know what it's like being out with friends, having fun. There's people everywhere, especially standing there to order food. You're in your own world, talking to whoever you're with. You're not paying attention, especially when you're under the influence. You're not really paying attention, being cautious. You know, if the same car is following you, or if you're walking, if the same person is following you. And that stuff can be very scary. That's why there should always be a designated person regardless if you're driving or walking. That way they can be more alert.
So remember how I said the Washington State, the other college that was close to the Idaho college, Washington State University also picked up a white Elantra. So they're also looking into the movements of this particular car the night of the murder. At 2:44, the white Elantra leaves the parking lot and then returns at 5:30 in the morning. The murder took place at 4:30. So now investigators are on the search for a 2015 white Elantra because they seen something, they know something, like something. We have to get to the occupant of this car. In between both of the schools, they run the computers for whatever student is registered to any white Elantra. And the one person they picked up, his name is Bryan Kohberger, who attends Washington State. And he has a white Elantra that's registered to him. So they pull up his license and his picture pops up. And he has bushy eyebrows, which is the same thing that the surviving roommate told the police. All I seen was a mask and bushy eyebrows is what she said. She also said that he wasn't really muscular, but he was like a little tall. His driver's license says he's 6 foot and 185 pounds. They checked to see if he normally gets in trouble. What is his history like? And he got pulled over back in August. Now, this is November that the murders happened. They noticed that he got pulled over in August for speeding. I'm not sure, but he got pulled over in August. And Guess where he was at when he got pulled over? Idaho. But you go to Washington State and your driver license says you live in Pennsylvania. So you were in Idaho. So now we got to figure out, why were you in Idaho? Were you stalking them? So police learned that he is a PhD student at Washington State University, and he studies criminal psychology. And check this out. He had just applied for an internship in the fall. He had just applied for an internship with the police department. And he said his objective was to work side by side so he can better understand how emotions and psychological traits influence decision-making when committing a crime. This is the same man who has a car registered that was in the same area of the murders. I mean, that's enough right there for me. But as a police, you have to be sure before you take anybody down. You have to be sure. And then a quadruple murder, they probably didn't want to run him off. And they noticed that this same white Elantra came back to the place where the roommates were murdered at 9:15 in the morning. This same white Elantra pulled back up at 9:15 in the morning. The public knew none of this. And frustration was just growing into anger.
3 weeks and still the police have no suspect or person of interest. The community has been left in limbo, left with more confusion and more questions. We are on the hunt for answers for this.
They put certain people between you and the officers that are making things happen, and those people are like lawyers, and they don't want to say anything, and they don't have the guts to come up and be alpha and be like leaders and say, hey, we might say something that's wrong. We're going to take that hit. So the officers, they look me straight in their eyes. The lead detective looked me in his eyes. I have no doubt he's working as hard as he can. But somebody isn't communicating. There's nothing being released. It seems like they're trying to suppress the story. We want to put rewards out. They're like, don't do that. Yeah, I get it. Your town doesn't want to have reward posters posted all over when you come and you do your rush. You're not going to get a lot of students if they see those things. But this community is not going to heal until this guy's pulled off the streets. It ain't going to happen. Think it through. It's not going to happen. He has to be off the streets. We all are working for the same thing.
When was the last time y'all heard from the police?
Thursday, we looked at our phone records. We want to be accurate. We don't want to sell anyone out.
About 3 o'clock on Thursday.
And did y'all get an update from the police about the investigation?
There was nothing. We have no updates for you.
There was no update. They needed me to sign a waiver form so that they could investigate something.
Some mail.
That was mail related. So we're working with them. We're not selling them out. We love our law support.
The FBI, everybody that's here. We just have no information as family, and it gets tough day after day after day. I mean, every day you just wake up and think today's the day. We're going to hear something, and you see these, there's a break in the case, and it'll just be something stupid.
The sixth person on the lease that was never there. Stop playing games. This is serious. These are people's lives, and this is the future of this community. I'll cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Their means of death don't match.
Maddie's
They don't.
and Kaylee's cause of death, it does not match based on the autopsy report.
They don't match.
Would indicate that one of them.
He doesn't have to go up the steps. Let's stop playing games, guys. I need somebody to step up and be an alpha. Be somebody to be a leader. Don't make me do it. I don't want to do it. He doesn't have to go up the steps. Their points of damage don't match. I'm just going to say it. It wasn't leaked to me. I earned that. I paid for that funeral. I paid for that. It's my right. You ain't taking that from me.
Calm down.
If you don't want to say nothing, that's your bet. But don't say I'm leaking anything. I paid that bill. Sent my daughter to college to get an education. She came back in the box, and I can speak on that.
So December 7th, they decided to make it public that they were looking for a 2015 white Elantra. So on December 15th, him and his father was actually pulled over 2 times on their way to Pennsylvania. And even his father brung up the murders that had happened.
About some SWAT team thing or
Yeah, there was a man shooting it.
Where?
Interesting.
Did y'all see how Bryan kind of corrected him?
Yeah, there's a man shooting him. Where?
So by December 23rd, investigators got a search warrant from the FBI CAST, which is like a cellular analysis team. And what they do is they use his phone number and they're able to track his whereabouts just from having his phone number and knowing who the provider is of the cell phone. It's mind-blowing how much our phones can do. Because, remind you, he hadn't even turned his phone in yet. He didn't even know he had been caught. They're doing this by his cell phone number only. 2:42 a.m., the tower pings that he is at his apartment in Pullman, Washington. At 2:47, another tower pings that he is slowly moving towards Idaho, where the roommates live. Then at 2:47, he cuts his phone off. There is no more pinging. But then it turns back on at 4:48 a.m. And from 4:50 to 5:30, all of the pings are within the same movement as the white Elantra on all of the surveillance cameras. So the same phone that's registered in your name is matching the same movements as the car that's registered in your name. We got our guy, right? And then that's when it shows that at 9:12 a.m., he went back. He left and came back to the scene. Creepy. So on December 27th, from his ID, they went to his family's house in Pennsylvania and they took trash out of his parents' trash bin outside and they ran DNA tests on the parents' fingerprints, trying to match it to the knife sheath that was left beside Madison and Kaylee when they were murdered. And do I even have to say it? It was a 99.9998% was the biological father of the suspect. So on December 30th at 3 a.m., Bryan Kohberger was arrested for 4 counts of murder and burglary. And they immediately put him on suicide watch, which was such a relief for all the victims' friends and family. Families were finally able to have some type of peace, knowing that justice will be served. However, Bryan is pleading not guilty. So there's definitely going to be a part 2 to this. And this is what his family's response was. Bryan has 2 older sisters. One of them is a counselor. One of them is a therapist. You think he would be more mentally stable since that type of stuff runs in the family, but he wasn't. It came out that he actually was writing Madison on Instagram, and all he said was, "Hey, how are you?" Now, you know, on Instagram, if you're not following that person and they send you a message, it'll go to your request and you'll just never see it. So the police never said if she read it or not. But isn't that scary? You know how many requests we have from people that we're not following and they want to send us messages? One of those people could simply just be stalking you for months and you don't even know. That's really scary. So once it was made public that it was actually him and he was arrested, a lot of his high school peers from Pleasant Valley High School had a lot to say about him, and it wasn't really good. They said that he was fat, he got bullied, and then he started doing heroin, and then he turned into the bully. He made a total of 118 posts on social media expressing how he feel, and it was very, very dark thoughts. How he doesn't fit in, like he feels like a misfit. He has no emotions at all. He loves to be mean and he feels no remorse about it. He said he feels like being with his family does not feel real. He feels like it's a part of a video game or something. He also admitted that he was suicidal. But then once he went to Northampton College, he stopped doing heroin. And then that's when he went to Washington State University to get his PhD for criminology. So it seems like that dark person was always there. It's always going to be there if you don't get the proper healing, you know? And the older you get, the more you're just able to cover it up. And I've witnessed that a lot, actually, unfortunately, with other people. You could tell they are who they've been their whole life. They haven't changed. They've learned how to mask it. He had a fascination of criminal psychology and would recruit criminals just to understand murder. Trial is not till June, so I'm definitely going to be on the lookout just to hear what the verdict is, which I'm pretty sure he's going to be guilty. I'm pretty sure he's going to get the death penalty because everything leads up to him. So I don't know. There's been so many speculations, and my heart goes out to Jack, the boyfriend, and all of the victims' family and friends. My heart goes out to the surviving roommates because they have to endure and listen to all of these distasteful speculations and try to mourn the loss of their best friends at the same time. So no matter what your opinion is, have it, don't put it out on the internet because these are real people. This is their real life. And I just can't imagine going through a tragedy like this. Xana and Ethan, I know for sure, has a charity or scholarship. Please go check that out. Share it on your Instagram page. Donate, share, just keep their legacy alive in honor of them. They did not deserve to lose their life all over this nutcase needing therapy a long time ago. So be on the lookout for part 2. I cannot wait to do that. This case reminds me of Ted Bundy, how he was so smart, but they want to use their smart for evil. So click right here to watch that video, or click right here to subscribe to this channel so that you never miss another video. Post notification goes to... Thank you so much for commenting. Shout out to you for being the best comment. I love you, and I will see you guys in the next mukbang.